Welcome to John McGivern's Main Streets, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of this popular TV program.
I love it!
You'll hear from John, Main Streets producer and director Lois Maurer, and that episode's content producer, as they share some of their favorite memories from filming and interesting stories that you won't find anywhere else. Today's episode, Goshen, Indiana.
We're talking Goshen, Indiana. It was our 12th episode of season 2. We're here with Lois Maurer, the executive producer and director, and we're here with Evan Waters, who was the content producer of this episode. Hello, Evan.
Hello.
So you spent time with us in Michigan, in Escanaba, and in Indiana, in Goshen, which is a town that I had no idea. Did you?
I had never heard of Goshen, no.
Ever in your whole life?
Yeah.
You are young, but come on. So were you assigned to this one as well?
This one, I was assigned an Indiana town, and
Lance took Fort Wayne.
Yeah. And so Fort Wayne was our big, because we do a big city and a little city in each state. And so we had our big one. And so taking everything I had learned as a producer, I Googled most charming towns in Indiana. And Goshen was on a list, and it was within our range. And the more I looked into it, the more interesting stuff I found. And I was like,
so you brought the town to the table.
I pitched Goshen.
You pitched Goshen.
Yeah.
And it was picked.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. I had a lot of haters, a lot of doubters.
I hope I wasn't one of them.
I wasn't. No, I was just like, what is it? Where are we going? Let me look at the map. It was the furthest away one, I believe. Was it not?
Goshen? No, I think Fort Wayne is further.
What'd you love about Goshen?
Goshen's interesting because I wouldn't describe it as necessarily like a tourist destination, but it's just a cool town because there's so much stuff going on. Like, they have a laundromat that was turned into a motorcycle factory.
Come on.
And
like
it's the RV capital of the world. And so before we go further, we need to address the RV thing because it's in Elkhart County. Elkhart, the city, is bigger than Goshen, and they have a ton of these RV plants. But they also have branches in Goshen, so we felt comfortable saying it's in the RV capital. It's not necessarily... Yeah, it counts.
Yeah,
it's close
it does.
Yeah.
And can I tell you what this does to that area of our country? It was important that we do that. Mm-hmm. And what a story that was.
Yeah.
It was really a great tour. I loved it. I really loved it. And the fact that we got to see it from nothing to fully assembled was very cool. Yeah. And kind of done by hand.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, and so they were saying they had some of the people that work there were Amish because they're right next to Amish country.
Right.
And I guess Amish people are allowed to use power tools. They just can't own them. So they could come in and use the factory's tools and build the stuff. And it's just a cool way of incorporating the people in the community.
Of course, the RV company we went to, Dynamax,
Dynamax
was incredibly high-end, too.
Yeah.
So that was really fun because it's all handmade custom stuff, and you could get close up, and it's quiet. There wasn't like big machines making tons of noise. It's people working with their hands, assembling these RVs, and it was really an up-close look. I was surprised at how close we actually got to a lot of things.
And they were so nice. They were all like, at one point, our director of photography, Bob, and we were filming some B-roll, and I was trying to find the A-roll crew because we wanted to know how much longer the interview was going to go or whatever. Some lady just found me and was like, "Are you looking for the other crew?" And she went on the radio and asked for them, and they were all super helpful. Nobody cared that we were there. Like, sometimes people would be like, well, you can't film this. But when we got there, Brian said, yeah, you can shoot whatever you want because if...
Said everybody knows everybody's secrets.
Yeah.
There's really no secrets.
He's like, you're not going to show anything that they don't already know.
Right.
Yeah.
And big. I mean, the plant is big, and they've got things from the chassis that come in that have nothing that just looks like the front of a truck. Basically, it's the front of a truck, and then they build everything on the back end.
Well, they only use 3 platforms. They use the Ram, they use the Freightliner, and they use a Mercedes. A Mercedes. Yeah. So those are the 3 that they use. Yeah. It's very cool. And when it's done, it's kind of gorgeous.
Yeah. And think that was one RV manufacturer that we walked into, and in that area of the country, tell me the stat. Don't they produce something like they produce 90% of like the American RVs in Indiana?
Somewhere between 50 and 100. I know that.
Yeah, right. It was pretty amazing, and that made them have a very good diversity in their communities as well because it attracts manufacturer employees. It attracts management. It attracts a lot of people from all different walks of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a huge Hispanic community.
Yeah, and so you did a good job of finding we've never done this before. We went to a Hispanic radio station.
Yeah.
And I was never been more grateful, John, that you speak Spanish.
It was good because we kind of did a show in Spanish is what we did. So my Spanish is limited. In fact, it's so funny because I just came back from Mexico. I spent 11 days in Mexico. So after 11 days, my Spanish is much better today than it was 2 weeks ago.
All right.
Because we spend a lot of time. And Steve's always like, what are you talking about?
Which is kind of what Lois is like when you're with me. I'm like, I suppose he's talking about something good.
But how great was that? And the model of that radio station was this guy just buys time. So he has 3 hours every night that station turns into his business. So he finds all of the advertisers. He decides programming. He decides who gets to. It's really kind of a wild model.
Yeah, and very good and effective for the community.
My employer, I work for a Lippert component. They give me opportunity to go to the Ivy Tech College. So Goshen College give me the opportunity to learn more about education for people like me. I am really, really blessing them.
Yeah, and this is all volunteer?
This radio station is run by volunteers.
Yes.
Everything you see here was built for volunteers.
Yeah.
Yes, and they can bring information about what happened in our community, what happened in your church, what happened in your neighbor next.
Yeah.
Who needs help. It's no matter who you are, it's no matter where you're coming from.
Yeah.
The radio station is open for you. Señoras y señores, pues como les decía, Manny Cortez y
John McGivern. Gracias. That was Manny Cortez. We also went to Goshen College and talked to Gilberto Perez was his name, who really talked about the importance of the Latino heritage in that town.
Yeah.
And where it came from and how strong it is, and Goshen College as well.
I wasn't familiar with Goshen College when I got there. I didn't know it. And as you get on campus there, it's got this great area in the middle with public art, and I don't know, it was just a kind of a comfortable vibe there.
Yeah, it was a nice small college.
Yeah.
Did we like the pizza?
Yes, that was fantastic.
Was it?
It was certified Neapolitan pizza.
Do you have to ask because you had one bite and then walked away?
Oh, Lord, I look back and I think, was it worth it?
All I know is that you're in front of this pizza and the rest of the crew is like, oh my gosh, we're starving to death. And you have such willpower, John McGivern.
I know.
You are able to take one bite and literally put it down. And I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it.
And then eat my Jenny Craig snack.
And then tell me that you're so hungry
Which
you can
does-
eat my hair.
Can I chew on your fingernails for a minute?
You're just...
No, it's good. It's all worth it. But the pizza looked terrific.
Yeah.
And what is genuine Neapolitan? Can we describe that?
They have to use certain ingredients.
Yep.
And I think they have to come from Italy.
Yeah.
And certain techniques, right?
That
Yeah.
oven
Yeah.
is all part of it as well.
Yeah.
That wood oven.
And it's that whole, that came from Italy, and they have to be certified.
Yeah.
There's an actual, you must be certified to call yourself Neapolitan pizza.
And the guy, so we talked to Stacy, I believe was her name, and she was one of the owners who was great. But then I was able to make a pizza with that guy, whatever, I forget what his name was, and
Yeah.
he was great.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, we made him make 2 of them. 'Cause we needed another shot is what we told him.
Also called lunch.
And then he packed them up and said, here you go. So, yeah, it was good pizza. And but right downtown, which the downtown was kind of perfect.
It was
Yes.
a really incredible downtown.
I thought so, too.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
on the site survey, Lois and I were like, oh my God, every storefront had something in it, something interesting.
Yeah, something you wanted to walk into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to wear something that's going to support your favorite show? Shop at Main Street Store. Proceeds go to help us get next season into production. So come on, go shopping at mainstreets.tv. I've got to talk about insurance. Are you stressed and overwhelmed with your Medicare Advantage plan options? It's ironic, really. The thing you need the most causes you stress. And it doesn't have to be that way. I chose Network Health because it's not stressful. For 40 years, they've provided health insurance to Medicare members throughout Wisconsin. And their customer service, oh, let me tell you something. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. So if you're looking for a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to be relieved of stress, you got to call my friends at Network Health. Call 844-277-7174 today. That's 844-277-7174. Don't wait.
What did we not like about Goshen, though? I'll tell you what we just didn't like.
Was that the weather?
We had some bad weather.
We managed to crank everything out, though.
Yeah, we got it all
Yeah, we
done.
did. And I know your favorite.
Oh, you don't have to ask twice.
I know what it is.
The quilt gardens.
The quilt gardens. So
Yes.
describe what a quilt garden is.
I think it's a fantastic tourism idea. I think that, okay, if you've all heard of barn quilts, right? That they're paintings in there. And we did this on our old show too. 8-foot by 8-foot squares that go on like the side of a barn.
Right.
And they make a tourist circle out of them. And there's books and you can find this one and that one. And by that way, you are touring around the countryside. Quilt gardens are a pattern, if you will, that would have been a quilt square, meaning that it is, it's a pattern of colors and geometrics that come together in a certain way, of which there are literally hundreds of thousands, right? Different ways to do these. And they had the idea to take these and make them out of flowers in the ground, in soil. So they plan these gardens out. They pick the plants that will make the right color and the right height. And it's all planned so well. And across Elkhart County, there's 3 in Goshen itself, I think. At least there was at least 3 that we went to. And I just think it's a really smart thing. This year, they paired statues with them. They paired public art from an artist out of, I believe he's from New York. And this year was one of the years where they pair a statue with each one of the quilt gardens. That just makes it even more interesting, except the statues are very...
too realistic. Where it's like, why is that guy still standing there? He's creeping me out a little.
Yes.
Oh, it's a statue.
There was one with a mom and she's got like a kid on her lap and they're reading a book. And now we're at the artist who happens to be really close to that. And we look out the car, we know it's raining outside and we're thinking, and we look over and Gail, our audio engineer is like, why is that woman out there with her child in the rain? And we were like, oh yeah, statues.
Yeah. And we when we do these shows and we have these segments in these episodes, the fact that I get to talk to people is my joy. The fact that I get to talk to someone like Karen, who was the woman who told us about these. First of all, talk about a bossy little gal. I'd ask her a question, she'd be like, no, that's not how it goes. It was like, I loved her. She was a little firecracker who I was like, you need your own show, lady. Go ahead, talk, I'll step away.
Yeah. And then the choice comes down as to what flowers. It normally takes 2 days to plant, and it's about 10 to 15 people that plant it.
Yeah.
After that, you're looking at watering. There is fertilizing. There is weeding. There are all these things that have to be taken care of from May 30th. And then our last day is September the 15th. And if the garden looks great...
We're going to leave this one.
Yes, we're
because
going to leave this one.
September 14th is tomorrow.
That is correct.
So you've got 2 days, which if it didn't look good on the 15th, then...
Pull.
Okay.
Pull.
You?
Absolutely
Now
pull.
you're scaring me,
No,
Corinne.
pull. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, she was good. Let's talk about the motorcycle place.
Yeah.
Oh,
Janus?
that's just such a highlight, isn't it?
It was.
Wow.
So you say it was used to be a laundromat.
The building.
It might have
the
been a
building,
dry
not the
Building
cleaner.
was a
It was
laundromat.
either a dry cleaner
Oh, I
or
think it was a dry cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have that window on the
Yeah.
front where you would just drive up to get your clothes. Yeah.
Another example of showing up at a place and meeting the subject of the interview and believing one thing that first moment, that first impression. Richard was his name, thinking I don't know if this is real. He was the best.
Yeah.
And I think he didn't really know what he agreed to.
Like he didn't know what you were going to talk about?
Yeah, we were working with his business partner, but he was like leaving town that day to like hand deliver a motorcycle to somewhere in North Dakota. So he's the one who set it all up for us, but then he couldn't do the interview, so we had Richard.
Yeah, and he
Who's
was
the
just
other
like,
partner, though. These two are business
they started
partners.
the company.
So he's an owner of the company.
Yeah.
But Richard was kind of like, now what exactly do you need? What are the questions? I was like,
And then you asked the first question.
and it was clear sailing.
Absolutely.
From then on.
There's a very good example of these people are so passionate about what they do that they want to show you every little thing. And here's the deal. When you get into a manufacturer like that, you want to see every little thing, John. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be here for 4 hours.
Well, this was size-wise kind of perfect.
Yeah, it was small.
Because there were, what were there, 6 or 7 employees there? They were building these by hand. We went to the back loading dock, which was as close to the guy building the, this was size-wise perfect.
Yes.
And step by step, he showed us from every nut and bolt to the finished product. And what beautiful motorcycles they are.
Unbelievable. It's they kind of look retro, right?
Yeah.
They have a look to them that I hadn't seen anywhere else. And you just want it. You just want it.
Yeah.
Again, another really good episode. It's what episode is this? The 12th.
Yeah, second to the last.
The penultimate.
Penultimate.
Wow, you have good words, Evan.
You are really good.
I'll work that into one of your scripts for next season.
Which, can I tell you? So we have 4 of you is what we have.
4 Evans.
We have 4 people who do Evans, 4 of you who do the same job, which is content producer. And I'm going to tell you right now that every time I get your script, your Bible, your words that I've got to memorize, I'm always like, I love Evan's words. Like you really write well for I guess it's really basic. Thank you.
There's a little John McGivern in my head, and I have to read all my scripts.
I'm very sorry.
That doesn't sound like John.
But as Lois, I'm always really happy with your words. So thank you.
Yeah. Very good.
Thanks, Evan. We'll see you next season.
Curious to find out where John is traveling next? Head over to our website, mainstreets.tv, to learn more. Again, that's mainstreets.tv. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and please leave us a review. It helps more people discover great programming like Main Streets. Look for us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to follow all the action. John McGivern's Main Streets is produced by Plum Media in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.